Hey guys, Mike from Nightmare on Maple Ave, here to do another tutorial. This is my second tutorial. I think the first one was kind of instructions on making a template for an easy way to duplicate the scissor prop mechanism sections. I think it turned out all right. I'm not the best video maker, so bear with me. I'm going to do another video, help out one of our members. And maybe somebody else who might find this information useful. But I got a question of how do I make my arms and my legs, and if so, how do I make them bendable and posable? And the easiest way I find is pool noodles, or what we call these. This is a pool noodle, but in the trade we call it a Halloween construction materials. Yeah, this one's actually same material as a pool noodle, but it's pipe insulation. I'll try to make this as simple and easy as possible for everybody, but I'm going to use the tools that I have readily available to me. But I'll try to make it simple so you could do it, with minimal tools without going out and buying anything. But like I said, basically, you want to make make something that you could either attach to one of these plastic skeletons and pose them. I mean, there's so many different ways of doing this. Again, this is the way I do it. Everybody's going to have their own opinion about it, and so be it. But basically, it's kind of simple. It starts with you got to roll this number 12 gauge wire. You can get this stuff from Home Depot or Lowe's. It's usually in the suspended ceiling section. It's steel. Sometimes it's aluminum. I think this roll is actually steel. But it's fairly thick. I very rarely use one strand of this. I mean, it's got some tension to it, but for a posable skeleton, you really don't want to be bending one strand of this a lot. Just one. You want to kind of make multiple strands, and that's how I'm kind of show you how to do that now. But basically, I need a couple strands for a skeleton, so I'm going to make these two skeletons that are holding up lanterns, and the lanterns are pretty heavy, so I need something to keep the arm extended and keep it from bending under the weight of the lamp. So this is the way I do it. Like I said, you go to Home Depot or Lowe's and the suspended ceiling section, get a roll of this stuff here, suspended ceiling wire. It's 12 gauge. And it's usually about $8 for 100 feet, and 100 feet, it'll last you a pretty long time depending on how many props you make. So basically, you want to determine, your length, and again, I can't tell you that you're going to need that, but say if this is your pool noodle, this is the arm length you're going to have. You got to attach it. You have to be able to attach this wire to a shoulder on this end. You have to be able to put a hand on this end. So you usually want to make measure your arm length and then go somewhat beyond. If you have to cut some off, who cares? But make a little extra. Go 5 inches, 10 inches beyond, 6 inches beyond each end. This way you have some sticking out, so you can attach it to a shoulder. I'll kind of show you how to do that. But like I said, the easiest way is get your measurement, get your length. This stuff is pretty, it comes in a roll, comes in a spool, and it kind of wants to maintain that bend. So as you pull it out, try to straighten it out as best you can. At this point in time, it really just kind of get it straight. Once you bundle them up, they'll get fairly straight. And I'll show you the easiest way to I bundle them up anyway. So what I normally do is, I determine my length to be 36 inches. So I kind of roll it out. Usually I'll use a clamp. You might need a clamp depending on, like I said, I'm going to use the tools that I have. I just clamp it to the end. Then I take my tape measure, I hook it on the end of the table where my spool starts. And like I said, I need 36 inches. You could use anything to cut this stuff. Usually a pair of side cutters, Lyman's, electrician side cutters. This seems to be the easiest, cleanest method of cutting this stuff, especially when you're only cutting one strand. If you're going to cut multiple strands with You're going to need a more hefty pair of these pliers. You know, this is a Harbor Freight pair for maybe $5-6. I don't want to go too crazy on it. Most likely it'll break. But you know, I'll cut mine at 36 inches. And like I said, you want to kind of straighten it out as best you can. At this point in time, just get it as straight as possible. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. You see, that's kind of got some bends in it. Now I've already gone ahead and done 2 more before, so you don't have to sit here and watch me cut all this crap. But I got 3 equal lengths. Now you can't just, you know, stick these down the center of a pool noodle and expect them to you know, not break. You know, when you're bending them a lot, when you're constantly, you know, changing position of the skeleton or whatever. Even if you have metal in here, if you keep bending it in one spot, it will eventually break. I mean, that's just the nature of steel or metal. That's all there is to it. But let me show you what I do to get basically this result, which is, you know, three of these wires all stranded together. Now, I didn't sit here with a pair of pliers on one end and clamp the other end and twist this like you would wire. You know, I put it in a drill, which seems to be the easiest way to do this. And then I just used the drill to twist it, and it really comes out straight. I don't know if you could see that, but it's I didn't straighten that out. This was just the way you see it, just the way these 3 wires started out. And when you twist them together, they kind of straighten out pretty good. So basically what I do is I take my 3 strands, and I'll find the ends. I'll get the ends together, and I'll try to twist them together at least. I mean, this is another tool you should have, is a pair of vice grips. You know, you can hunker down on things, get all the ends together. You know, if you have a good vise, I have a crappy vise. It's got wood coverings on each end, so you know, so I don't mar finishes. But basically, I kind of use the vice grips, tie 3 of them together, use another pair of pliers, and twist them. Get the 3 twisted together. It just kind of holds these together. It doesn't matter what they look like. If it's ugly right now, it could get cut off. Doesn't matter. This is just to kind of give it a... See, I'm screwing this up already, but this is just kind of get them tied together so to lock them in a vise. Yeah, I did that wrong already. So, no problem with that. I'll just start all over. Give myself more meat. See how easy it is to cut with these? It's not too bad. Like I said, get them together. Get them locked in a pair of vice grips. Easiest way here. And tag these 3 together as best you can. It's not, like I said, it's not that important. You just need to be together so they hold for now in your vise. That's all you need. And then basically give it a 45-degree bend at that point. This way you can hold it into your vise. You know, I do this by myself, so I'm going to have to move the camera over, so just bear with me. Let's just reset that camera. You can see this here. See, this is my crappy vise. Just you take the end with the little small 45-degree angle and just lock it in your vise. You don't want the 3 of them to move, that's all it is. When you pull on them, you don't want any of them to move. Just kind of give them a pull. I don't know if you can see this. Give them a pull. Now see the ends here? They're not equal. You really want to have them equal. This is why you make them longer than you actually need. I only need 24 inches here. I made these 36 inches, so I'll cut some off. Doesn't matter to me. At the price it is, you know, you can afford to throw a little bit in the trash, but try to cut all 3 of them down to the same length, so that when you stick them in your drill, they basically will all end up at the same point. Now it doesn't matter what kind of drill you have. I'm going to use a cordless drill. I got this DeWalt here, but you know, it's a 2-speed. I like to do this on a slower speed. I got the fast speed, and you got the low speed. And open up your drill. Basically what you want to do, let me make it pan out a little bit here for you. Sorry about this, I do all these videos by myself. So basically what you want to do is you want to take these 3 ends, pull them tight, get them fairly straight, and lock your chuck, your drill chuck around those 3. Give it a good grip. I don't know if you can see this. See, I was locked in that drill pretty good, all 3 of them. Let's see what you got here. Basically, you start twisting with your drill. It doesn't matter which direction. I would do the actual clockwise. This way, your drill doesn't want to come undone. So just start giving it a twist. Just a couple. You could actually see it's starting to twist, and it's actually already starting to straighten out. You give it a little twist. You can go a lot. You really don't have to go a lot. Maybe maybe 2 or 3 twists per inch. You can kind of see that if it's 1 inch. It'll be 1, 2, 3 twists in an inch. You could keep going and make it even more if you want, but it's really not necessary. So basically, it's going to have some tension to it like a spring. So just reverse your drill a little bit. This way you get the tension off of it. Now let's see what I can do here. And just kind of get your wire out of your chuck. You got 3 ends there. A little, ratty, but who cares? Like I said, you're gonna you made them longer. You're gonna cut some off. The easiest way I find to cut these off is to basically use a cutoff wheel on an angle grinder. You got to use, wear safety glasses and such, but you cut these off, you can make a nice clean cut. But right now there's really no reason to cut these off on the end, and I'll show you why I don't cut them off, because once you insert this into a pool noodle, you're gonna want to be able to attach either attach this end to the shoulder or the pelvis of the skeleton, or whatever you're attaching this wire to. Now you need some way to attach it. The easiest way I find to do it is to put a loop on the end of this. It's fairly simple, fairly easy. It's a strong loop. I'll show you that in a second. Like I said, I moved the camera back over to the workbench. So now before you go, sticking this down a pool noodle, getting ready for attach, you want to be able to attach your end to something here. So basically, what I do is I kind of unravel one of the ends. And again, this is where the lineman's pliers comes in pretty good. You take this, you kind of unravel it, and you leave 2 of them. You want to leave 2 strands at the end. Just unravel a little bit, just enough to make a twist. Now what I normally do is leave 2. I don't know if you can see that. There's 3, but I'll take 1, I'll bend it down, and I'll cut it off. This way you don't have to deal with 3 of them. You don't have to worry about it. You can give it a little twist. Use your pliers to kind of dress it up a little bit. But what I'll do is I'll bend these up a little bit. Let me see. Almost like you're going to tie a twist tie around a garbage bag. And you kind of get it started where they're crisscrossed like that. That's not too bad. I'll wrap it around something, either a small pipe, 1/4 inch pipe. This actually happens to be a 3/8 inch piece of aluminum dowel. Again, forgive the camera work. I only have 2 hands, but basically what I'll do is I'll stick that down the center, and I'll twist these two twists around this. It seems to be the best way for me to get a. And again, you could do this with a pair of vice grips or these lineman pliers, however you want to do it. This is the way I do it. And you just keep twisting. And then you can clean it up a little bit. It's some strong stuff, so it's kind of, sometimes it's hard to do. Even better when you have a pair of vice grips. You could lock your vice grips on it. Get a couple more twists on that. And it kind of leaves you a hoop at the end. And you can cut this off. Like I said, it's going to be hard to cut more than 1 strand with one of these things. So, A little difficult. If you got the hand strength, you could do it. If you really want to clean that up even better, I mean, you could basically take a grinder. Even though there's a couple little twists on the end there, you don't have a real lot hanging off here. But here, let me fix this damn camera. Again, excuse the video work. I'm not very. I'm better at making props than I am doing this crap. But like I said, hopefully I can help somebody out here. Like I said, now you got a little twist in the end. You can see that. Now you could basically, you could do, however you want to do it. Say you have an eye hook in the shoulder blade of your prop, you could use a twist tie, tie it, and then this way you'll have an arm that's actually movable. The other end, I mean, you could do whatever you want. If that other end is your shoulder and the other end is going to have a hand, you could leave the bend on the end of it. Take your, say if you bought a latex hand. I don't know if I have one around. Let's see if we got a latex hand. Let's just assume that I wanted to, attach this latex hand to the end of this, at the end of this arm, and I want, you want it to be stable, so you want this wire to be inside this latex hand. I'm going to foam fill this to make sure that the hand stays on the arm. You would insert it into your hand, your latex hand, a glove. This actually just happens to be a big, huge prop hand. I got from Haunted Props or Horror Dome. Actually, I got this from the Horror Dome. Pretty nasty glove. Pretty good glove though. It's actually going to be put on a prop this year because the right hand is all screwed up. So I'm just gonna. He's gonna have two left hands. Anyway. You fill that up with foam, it'll lock this wire inside your latex hand or foot or whatever you're building at the time. So basically, again here, the next step would be to kind of secure this wire, and I'm going to use this smaller wire that I used before because I have my pull noodle ready for this project yet. So basically what I do, again, I take my wire, my prepared pull noodle, I shove it down the middle. You want it down the middle. It doesn't have to be perfectly centered, so you don't have to put washers on it to make sure it's centered. But you want to leave some sticking out at either end. Again, this end, and it's up to you the length that you want to use. You could basically have a little bit sticking out. When I'm connecting to a shoulder, I mean, I always put a little bit sticking out, maybe an inch, inch and a half. This way when you have the shoulder pull noodle, that will come on and cover that. But basically, there's your arm. I mean, like I said, you put your zip tie on that to your shoulder blade, and you got an arm. So, but if you just throw this on here now, this pull noodle is gonna wiggle back and forth. So I just the easiest way, is this crap here. This great stuff. This stuff here is actually great stuff. I don't care what its name is. It's just great stuff. We use it for everything. I used to use this for filling all my prop heads and hands. I just didn't have the time to wait anymore. So I went out and I bought some of that Flex-It foam or foam Flex-It or whatever the hell it is. But 2-part foam. I bought a gallon of it. It's actually a 2-gallon unit. It'll last me forever. But basically, so this is what they have at the Home Depot and the Lowe's, a hardware store. Sometimes they have it at the dollar store. You can find this stuff practically anywhere. But most important thing when using this crap, spend the $10 and $20, whatever dollar store. Go get yourself a big box of rubber gloves. I don't care what anybody says in the haunt groups on Hoarders Hangout, and there's no easy, safe way to get this crap off your skin once it's on there. And once it's on there, once you get this foam on your skin, you're going to be covered in the dirt. You got to wash it off right away, or everything that you're working with is just going to stick to you, and it's going to take forever to get it off. And then basically you need a grinder or a belt sander just to get it off your skin. But you know, unless you want to start using chemicals, acetone will take it off. And I just used the rubber gloves. Get some rubber gloves. I think these were $9 for a box of 50 of them. And again, they'll last forever. But again, all right, here we go. I'm yapping. Like I said, stick your prepared wire. You got your prepared wire, and let me show you the wire that I just did. And you could see exactly. I didn't straighten that wire as it came off the spool, but when it came out of the drill with the 3 wires twisted together, it's almost perfectly straight. I mean, I don't know how I can actually kind of show you that it's straight. But hey, here's a straight edge. Here's the wire on a straight edge. That's pretty damn straight, and we didn't have to put it through any special machine or anything. It's just this straight wire. Just physics. All right. Now you want to prepare you got your prepared pool noodle. You got your prepared wire. Just shove it down the center. Don't let it go off the side. It could be any pool noodle. It doesn't have to be this stuff here. I mean, I'm having trouble because this is actually an old piece of insulation. It actually has some great stuff in it already, but you know, like I said, you don't have to have it straight down the center. I don't know if you can see that. It doesn't have to be straight down the center. When you connect it, you're not going to see it once you get your prop, you know, all dressed and everything. You're just not going to see it unless you're, you know, you might be that particular. You might put a washer on there that kind of keeps it centered down in the center of your pool noodle. I don't do that. You can wait for the great stuff to harden up a little bit and cure a little bit, and then try to pull it to the center. But usually, when the great stuff starts to go, it's done, and you can't maneuver it. Basically, what I do is I take very little bit of this left anyway. I take my my great stuff, stick your nozzle as far as you can down in the pool noodle. Kind of close the end of the pool noodle, kind of pinch it closed. This way, you could force it down to the other end. I want to do this without making a mess. Let's see if I can get it going. It's coming out, but you want it. If you don't close this end off, it's going to want to run towards the path of least resistance, and that's going to be the closest end to the nozzle. So kind of pinch it off first, and kind of force it all the way down to the other end. You could either give it a couple shots and then kind of take a look to see where it is, or you could go from both ends. It all depends on what you want to do. I could hear it coming out the other end, so yeah. See, I don't know if you can see it down in there, but it's on its way out. But so I put a little bit, and shit gets everywhere. Excuse my French. And that one's full all the way up to that end. And you could clean it all off, whatever you want to do. Just let it harden. Once it hardens, it peels off the plastic. You always want to keep a roll of cheap paper towels around. Just shit. Just remember, it's going to expand coming out of the end, so you might not want to fill it all the way to the end. It will make its way towards the end, but you know, I like it coming out. I let it come out, and then I just basically pull it all off. Grind it off with a wire wheel. Once it's hard, you can hit it with a wire wheel. The wire wheel will shape it into any shape you want. So basically, that's what you got. You got an arm. Once that great stuff. That's the only bad thing about great stuff. Great stuff takes forever to friggin' harden up. It's usually an overnight ordeal. You know, you get yourself. Yeah. If you like filling up your gloves and filling up prop heads and masks, you know, you use masks to get some of this. I got this Flexit Foam 6. This is the type of stuff I like to use. It gives me a firmness in the foam. It's a 1-in-1 mix ratio. You don't have to weigh anything. But I love this stuff. It's smooth on. It's about, I think I got this for $70 for 2 gallons. But again, it'll last me forever depending on how many props I make. But you know, if you plan to start making your own heads and your own foam-filled hands out of latex gloves and even regular, you know, these rubber gloves, you want to, fill them up with this Flex-It foam, and then take the rubber glove off. You'll actually have a foam hand if you just fill it up and let it sit. But this stuff, it's workable in, I would say, a half hour to an hour. This would be done. But it's this is a flowable material as compared to pumpable, as this great stuff is. But so that's it. That's if you want to basically have an arm that's posable. That's the way I do it. Like I said, everybody's going to have 100 different opinions. Don't do it that way. Do it this way. Do it that way. You know what? I don't give a shit. This is the way I do it. You're going to do a longer one. This is what I'm going to be doing with this one. This is this is going to be a leg. I'm also going to make a bunch of these for the skeletons that I'm working on with the lanterns. I have some heavy lanterns, and I want the skeletons to hold them up and sort of out in front of them. So this is what I'm going to attach to it. I'm going to zip tie this to the back of their arm so that people can't see the wire. Maybe hit it with a little beige paint or bone colored paint so it kind of blends in with the skeleton. But this is what I'm going to use to hold up the lanterns being held by the skeletons. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't know what else I can tell you. Another thing, if you want to, you got these pool noodles. Sometimes they're stiff, and they really don't. They'll bend, but they'll want to try to bend back. They'll fight against this. The metal wants to stay, but the pool noodle wants to kind of bend it and let it go back. One of the things you could do is, find your elbow joint. Measure your own arm or whatever. Find your elbow joint. Give it a mark, and use a saw and cut out a V groove all the way around at that joint. It'll just make things easier when you want to bend it, especially with these big, heavy walled pool noodles. This is about a 1-inch wall on this pool noodle, so it's going to be hard to have this bend a lot, especially like if you want to bend it a little bit, it'll stay. You want to bend it in a 45 to a 90 degree angle. I mean, 45 or 90, it's not going to stay. It's going to want to spring back. If that's the case, like I said, you find out where you want your joint, and make a mark all the way around it, and then cut a V groove. When you're looking at it, it looks like a V. This way you can bend it in any direction. If you don't want to bend it all in one direction, cut a V groove only on half of the circumference. If you understand what I'm saying. I don't want to do that. I don't want to ruin this pool noodle, so I don't want to do an example. But if you're in my group, you're kind of at the point where you kind of know these things already, just kind of pointing you in the right direction or giving you a different method of doing things. But yeah, I hope this worked out for you. I hope this answers the question to the people or persons that are asking the questions. Now I got to figure out how to put this crap on the computer. I'll see you on video number 3.